Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Nami, Radha Krishna Krsna Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Nami, Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Jaya Mohana, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Mohana, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Mohana, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Bhagavad Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Bhagavad Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, 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 Madana Mohana, Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana. Paramahamsa. Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Namine, Ora Karuna Varupaya, Radha Krishna Prashaya Te.
Krishna recovers the son of his teacher. When Lord Krishna saw that Vasudeva and Devaki were remaining standing in a reverential attitude, he immediately expanded his influence of Yoga Maya so that they could treat him and Balaram as children. As in the material world, the relationship existing between father and mother and children can be established amongst different living entities by the influence of the illusory energy. So by the influence of Yoga Maya, the devotee can establish a relationship in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead is his child. After creating this situation by his Yoga Maya, Krishna appearing with his elder brother Balaram as the most illustrious sons in the dynasty of Satvatas, were very submissively and respectfully addressed Vasudev and Devaki. My dear father and mother, although you have always been anxious for the protection of our lives, you could not enjoy the pleasure of having us as your babies, as your growing boys, and as adolescent youths. Krishna indirectly praised the fatherhood of Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yasoda as the most glorious, because although he and Balaram were not their born sons, Nanda and Yasoda actually enjoyed their childhood pastimes. By nature's own arrangement, the childhood of the embodied living being is enjoyed by the parents. Even in the animal kingdom, parents are found to be affectionate to the cubs. Being captivated by the activities of their children, they take much care for their well-being. As for Vasudeva and Devaki, they were always very anxious for the protection of their sons, Krishna and Balaram. That is why Krishna, after his appearance, was immediately transferred to another house. Balaram was also transferred from Devaki's womb to Rohinu's womb. Vasudeva and Devaki were full of anxieties for Krishna and Balaram's protection, and they could not enjoy the childhood pastimes. Krishna said, unfortunately, being ordered by our fate, we could not be raised by our own parents to enjoy the childhood pleasure at home. My dear father and mother, a man has a debt to pay to his parents, from whom he gets this body which can bestow upon him all the benefits of material existence. According to Vedic injunction, this human form of life enables one to perform all kinds of religious activities, fulfill all kinds of desires, and acquire all kinds of wealth. And only in this human form is there every possibility that one can get liberation from material existence. This body is produced by the combined efforts of the father and mother. Every human being should be obliged to his parents and understand that he cannot repay his debt to them. If after growing up a son does not try to satisfy his parents by his action or by the endowment of riches, he is surely punished after death by the superintendent of death and made to eat his own flesh. If a person is able to care or give protection to all parents, children, the spiritual master, brahmanas, and other dependents, but does not do so, he is considered to be already dead. Although he is supposedly breathing, my dear father and mother, you have always been anxious for our protection, but unfortunately we could not render any service unto you. Up to the date, we have simply wasted our time. We could not serve you for reason beyond our control. Mother and father, please excuse us for our sinful activity, for our simple action. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead was speaking as an innocent boy in a very sweet words, both Vasudeva and Devaki became captivated by parental affection and embraced them with great pleasure. They were amazed and could not speak or answer the words of Krishna, but simply embraced him and Balaram in great affection and remained silent, shedding incessant tears. Thus consoling his father and mother, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appearing as a beloved son of Devaki, approached his grandfather Ugrasena and announced that Ugrasena would now be the king of the Yadu kingdom. Kamsa had been forcibly ruling over the kingdom of the Yadu, in spite of the presence of his father, whom he had arrested. But after the death of Kamsa, Kamsa's father was released and announced to be the king of the Yadu kingdom. It appears that in those days, in the western part of India, there were many small kingdoms, and they were ruled by the Yadu dynasty. Andaka dynasty, Brishni dynasty, Bhoja dynasty, Maharaj Ugrasena belonged to the Bhoja dynasty. Therefore Krishna indirectly declared that the king of Bhoja dynasty would be the emperor of other smaller kingdoms. He willingly asked Maharaj Ugrasena to rule over them because they were his subjects. The word praja is used both for the progeny and for the citizen. So Krishna belonged to the praja, both as a grandson to Maharaj Ugrasena and a member of the Yadu dynasty. He voluntarily accepted the rule of Maharaj Ugrasena. He informed Ugrasena, being cursed by Yayati, the kings of the Yadu dynasty, we will not rise against the throne. It will be our pleasure to serve you as your servants. Our full cooperation with you will make your position more exalted and secure so that the kings of other dynasties will not hesitate to pay their respective revenues. Protected by us, you will be honored even by the demigods from the heavenly planets. My dear grandfather, out of fear of my late uncle Kamsa, all the kings belonging to the Yadu dynasty, Brishni dynasty, Andaka dynasty, Madhu dynasty, the Sara dynasty, and Kukura dynasty were very anxious and disturbed. Now you can pacify them all and give them assurance of security. The whole kingdom will be peaceful. All the kings in the neighboring area had left their homes in fear of Kamsa and were living in distant parts of the country. Now after the death of Kamsa and the reinstatement of Ugrasena as king, the neighboring kings were given all kinds of presentation and comforts. Then they returned to their respective homes. After this nice political arrangement, the citizens of Mathura were pleased to live in Mathura, being protected by the strong arms of Krsna and Balaram. On account of good government in the presence of Krishna and Balaram, the inhabitants of Mathura felt complete satisfaction in fulfillment of all their material desires and necessities. And because they saw Krishna and Balaram daily eye to eye, they soon forgot all their material miseries completely. As soon as they saw Krishna and Balaram coming out on the street, very nicely dressed and smiling and looking here and there, the citizens were immediately filled with loving ecstasies, simply by seeing the personal presence of Mukunda. Mukunda refers to one who can award liberation and transcendental bliss. Krishna's presence acted as such vitalizing tonic that not only the younger generation, but even the old men of Mathura became fully invigorated with youthful energy and strength by regularly seeing him. Nanda Maharaj and Yasoda were also living in Mathura because Krishna and Balaram were there. But after some time, they wanted to go back to Vrindavan. Krishna and Balaram went before them and very feelingly and affectionately embraced Nanda and Yasoda. And Krishna began to speak as follows. My dear father and mother, although I was born of Vasudeva and Devaki, you have been our real father and mother. Because our very birth and childhood, you raised us with great affection and love. Your affectionate love for us was more than anyone can offer one's own children. You are actually our father and mother because you raised us. Because you raised us as your children. At a time when we were just like orphans, for certain reasons, we were rejected by our father and mother, and you protected us. My dear father and mother, I know you will be feeling separation by returning to Vrindavan and leaving us here. But please rest assured that I shall be coming back to Vrindavan just after giving some satisfaction to my real father and mother. Vasudeva and Devaki, my grandfather and other relatives and family members. Krishna and Balaram satisfied Nanda and Yasoda by sweet words and by presentation of various clothings, ornaments, and property-made utensils. They satisfied them along with their friends and neighbors who had come with them from Vrindavan to Mathura as fully as possible. On account of his excessive parental affection for Balaram and Krishna, Nanda Maharaj felt tears in his eyes, and he embraced them and started with cowherd men in Vrindavan. After this, Vasudeva and his son initiated by sacred thread as token of the second birth, which is essential for the higher caste of human society. Vasudeva called for his family priests and learned Brahmanas, and the sacred thread ceremony of Krishna and Balaram was duly performed. During this ceremony, Vasudeva gave various ornaments in charity to the Brahmanas and endowed them with cows, decorated silken clothes, and golden ornaments. Previously, during the birth of Krishna and Balaram, Vasudeva had wanted to give cows in charity to the Brahmanas. But being imprisoned by Kamsa, he was able to do so only within his mind. With the death of Kamsa, the actual cows were given to the Brahmanas. Then Balaram and Krishna were duly initiated with the sacred thread ceremony, and they repeated chanting the Gayatri mantra. The Gayatri mantra is offered to the disciple after the sacred thread ceremony, and Balaram and Krsna properly discharged the duty of chanting this mantra. Anyone who executes the chanting of this mantra has to abide by certain principles and vows. Although Balaram and Krsna were both transcendental personalities, they strictly followed the regulative principles. Both were initiated by their family priest Gangaracharya, usually known as Garga Muni, the Acharya of the Yadu dynasty. According to Vedic culture, every respectable person has an Acharya or spiritual master, one who is not considered to be a perfect cultured man without being initiated and trained by the Acharya. It is therefore that one who has approached an Acharya is actually in perfect knowledge. Lord Krsna and Balaram were the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the master of all education and knowledge. There was no need for them to accept a spiritual master or Acharya. Yet, for the instruction of ordinary men, they also accepted the spiritual master for advancement in spiritual knowledge. It is customary, after being initiated in the Gayatri mantra, for one to live among home for some time under the care of Acharya in order to be trained in spiritual life. During this period, one is to work under the spiritual master as an ordinary menial servant. There are many rules and regulations for a brahmachari under the care of an Acharya, and both Lord Krsna and Balaram strictly followed those regulative principles, while living the instruction of their spiritual master Sandipani Muni in his place in northern India. According to the scriptural injunction, a spiritual master should be respected and be regarded on an equal level with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Both Krsna and Balaram exactly followed those principles with great devotion and underwent the regulation of brahmacharya, and thus they satisfied their spiritual master who instructed them in Vedic knowledge. Being very satisfied, Sandipani Muni instructed them in all the intricacies of Vedic wisdom, as well as in the supplementary literatures such as Upanishad. Because Krsna and Balaram happened to be Kshatriyas, warriors, they were specifically trained in military science, politics, mathematics. In politics, there are 6 departments of knowledge: how to make peace, how to fight, how to pacify, how to divide and rule, how to give shelter, etc. All these items were fully explained and instructed by Krsna and Balaram. Yeah. And also, that's the principle that they're trying to follow, the government, but it's not God-centered. The ocean is a source of water in a river. The cloud is created by the evaporation of the ocean water. And in the same water is distributed as rain all over the surface of the earth, and then returned towards the ocean in rivers. So Krsna and Balaram, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are the source of all kind of knowledge. But because they were playing like an ordinary human boys, they set the example so that everyone would receive knowledge from the right source. Thus, they agreed to take knowledge from a spiritual master. After hearing only once from their teacher, Krsna and Balaram learned all the arts of sciences. In 64 days and 64 nights, they learned all the necessary arts and sciences that are required in human society. During daytime, they took lessons on subject from the teacher, and by nightfall, after having heard the teacher, they were expert in the department of knowledge. First of all, they learned how to sing, how to compose song, and how to recognize the different tunes. They learned the favorable and unfavorable accents and meters, how to sing different kinds of rhythms and melodies, and how to follow them by beating different kinds of drums. They learn how to dance with rhythm, melody, and different songs. All those who sing the holy names are whole musicians. They learn how to write dramas, and they learn the various types of painting, beginning from the different village art up to the highest perfectional stage. They also learn how to paint tilak on the face and make different kinds of dots on the forehead of the cheeks. Nakita mo yan, yung mga ganun. Then they learn the art of painting on the floor with liquid paste or rice and flour. Such painting are very popular at auspicious ceremonies performed at home, household affairs, or in the temples. They learn how to make resting place with flowers and how to decorate clothing and leaves with colorful paintings. They also learn how to set different valuable jewels and ornaments. Jewelry din pala sila. They learn the art of wringing water pots. You know, the wringing of water pots. Water pots are filled with water to a certain measurement, so that when one beats on the pots, different tunes are produced. And when the pots are beaten together, they produce a melodious sound. They also learn how to throw water in the rivers or in the lake while taking a bath among friends. They also learn how to decorate with flowers. This art of decorating can still be seen in various temples of Vrindavan during the summer season. And that's what we're told to do, taking care of the deity. It is called Prulabadhi. The dais, the throne, and the walls and the ceilings are fully decorated. And a small aromatic fountain of flowers is fixed in the center. Because of this floral decoration, the people fatigued from the heat of the summer season becomes refreshed. But there's this that Chinese are selling. The water evaporates, you put something, the smell comes. You've seen that? Yeah, in China store. You buy this, there's water, and then when you put this chemical, this smell, it comes out. Krishna and Balaram learned the art of dressing hair in various styles and fixing a helmet in different position of the head. Ginagawa lahat ng mga imitator dito sa mundo ba? They also learn how to perform on theatrical stage. Mga actor din sila. How to decorate dramatic actors with flower ornaments over the ear. And how to sprinkle sandalwood pulp and water to produce a nice fragrance. They also learn the art of performing magical feats. Within the magical feats, there is an art called Bahurupi, by which a person dresses himself in such a way that when he approaches a friend, he cannot be recognized. Di ba? Kaya mo magano? These guys. Ano pala lang ginagawa natin lahat dito sa mundo ba? They also learn how to make beverages, which are required in various times. They studied syrups and taste the effects of intoxication. They learn how to manipulate thin threads for dancing puppets. Yeah, they know. They learn how to string wires in musical instruments. Then they learn puzzles and how to set art, solve them. They learn the art of reading books, by which even a foolish student can very quickly learn to read the alphabet and comprehend writing. Then they learn how to rehearse the act out of a drama. They also study the art of solving crossword puzzles, filling up the missing space and making complete words. They also learn how to draw pictographic literature. In some countries in the world, pictographic literature is still current. A story is represented by pictures. For instance, a man and a house are pictured to represent a man going home. Just leave him. You cannot control his mind. Just leave him. Tell him to sit down in one place lang. Yeah. Krishna and Balaram, he can do that anytime, not now. Krishna and Balaram learned the art of architecture, how to construct transcendental buildings, how to construct residential building. He also learned the art of architecture, how to construct residential buildings. They learned to recognize valuable jewels by studying the luster of the quality of their colors. Then they learned the art of setting jewels with gold and silver. They also learned how to study soil to find minerals. This study of soil is now a great specialized science. But formerly it was common knowledge even for ordinary man. They learned to study herbs and plants and to extract medicine from the elements. Naturalism. By studying the different species of plants, they learn how to crossbreed plants and get different types of fruits. They learn how to train and engage lambs and cocks in fighting for sporting purposes. Then they learn how to teach parrots to speak and answer the questions of human beings. They learn practical psychology, how to influence another's mind and induce another to act according to one's own desire. Sometimes this is called hypnotism. So, they learn how to wash hair, dye it in different colors, and curl it in a different way. So they learn the art of hypnotism. So we are here, we are hypnotized by illusion, Maya. So when a person cannot control his mind, he needs to pacify it because he's active by nature. So what happened? Because we are so much conditioned, identifying ourselves as the body. So we want to express it's like there's so much pressure for the person who is in this body, you know? He wants to move, he wants to act, but he identifies himself as the mind. So he needs to pacify it. So he moves and moves and moves. So the first realization should be controlling the mind, the body, by understanding our true nature and identity, and engaging our senses in the service of Krishna. The activities of a student. They learn a practical psychology. They learn how to wash hair, dye in different colors, and curl it in different ways. They learn the art of telling what is written in someone's book without actually seeing it. They learn to tell what is contained in another's piece. Sometimes children imitate this art, although not very accurately. One child keeps something within the feast, and although not very accurately, one child keeps something within his feast and asks his friend, "Can you tell him what is within?" And the friend gives and asks his friend, "Can you tell what is within?" Some suggestion, although we actually cannot tell, but there is an art by which one can understand and actually tell what is held in the feast. Krishna and Balaram learn how to speak and understand the language of various countries. They learn not only the language of human beings. Krishna could also speak even with animals and birds. Evidence of this is found in Vaishnava literature compiled by the Goswamis. Then they learn how to make carriages and airplanes from flowers. It is said that in Ramayana, after defeating Ravana, Ramachandra was carried from Lanka to Bharatat Barsa on a plain of flowers called Pusparata. Krishna then learned the art of foretelling events by seeing signs. In a book called Charana Bakachana, the various types of signs and omens are described. If one is going out, one sees someone with bucket full of water, that is a very good sign. But if one sees someone with an empty bucket, it's not a very good sign. Similarly, if one sees cow's milk along with calf, it is a very good sign. The result of understanding this sign is that one can foretell events, and Krishna learned the science. Krishna also learned the art of composing matrika. A matrika is a crossword selection with 3 letters in a line. Counting any 3 of them, any side, it will count 9. The matrikas are all different kinds and are for different purposes. Krishna learned the art of cutting valuable stones such as diamonds. He learned the art of questioning and answering by immediately composing poetry within his mind. He learned the science of action and reaction, of physical combination and permutation. He learned the science of psychiatry. the art of psychiatrist, who can understand the psychic movement on another person. He learned how to satisfy one's desire. Desires are very difficult to fulfill. But if one desires something which is unreasonable and can never be fulfilled, the desire can be subdued and satisfied. And that is an art. By this art, one can subdue sex impulse when they arose, and they are even in Brahma as they are even in the brahmachari life. By this art, one can make even an enemy his friend and transfer the direction of physical element to other living things, to other things. Lord Krishna and Balaram, the reservoir of all knowledge of art and sciences, exhibited their perfect understanding when they are offered to serve the teacher by awarding him anything he desired. Lord Krishna and Balaram, the reservoir of all knowledge of arts and sciences, exhibited their perfect understanding when they were offered to serve their teacher by awarding him anything he desired. This offering by the student to the teacher or spiritual master is called Guru Dakshina. It is essential that the student satisfy the teacher in return for any learning received, either material or spiritual. When Krishna and Balaram offered their service in this way, teacher Sandipani Muni thought it is wise to ask them for something extraordinary, something which no common student could offer. He therefore consulted his wife about what to ask from them. They had already seen the extraordinary potencies of Krishna and Balaram and could understand that the two boys were the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They decided to ask for the return of their sons, who had drowned in the ocean on the bank of Prabhashetra. When Krishna and Balaram heard from their teacher about the death of his son on the bank of Prabhashetra, they immediately started for the ocean on their chariot. Reaching the beach, they asked for the controlling deity of the ocean to return the son of their teacher. The ocean deity immediately appeared before the Lord and offered him all respectful obeisances with great humility. The Lord said, "Some time back, you caused the drowning of the son of our teacher. I order you to return them. I order you to return him." The ocean deity replied, "The boy was not actually taken by me, but was captured by a demon called Pankajana. This great demon generally remained deep in the water in the shape of a conch shell. The son of your teacher might be within the belly of the demon, having been devoured by him." On hearing this, Krishna dove into the water and caught hold of the demon Pankajana. He killed him on the spot, but could not find the son of his teacher within his belly. Therefore he took the demon's dead body in the shape of a conch shell and returned to his chariot on the beach of Prabhashetra. From there he started to Samyamani, the residence of Yamaraj, the superintendent of death, accompanied by his elder brother Balaram, who is also known as Haliyuda. Krishna arrived there and blew on his conch shell. Hearing the vibration, Yamaraj appeared and received Shri Krishna with all respectful obeisances. Yamaraj could understand who Krishna and Balaram were, and therefore he immediately offered his humble obeisances to the Lord. Krishna had appeared on the surface of the earth as an ordinary human being, but actually Krishna and Balaram are the super soul living within the heart of every living entity. They are Vishnu himself, but were playing just like an ordinary human boys. As Yamaraj offered his services to the Lord, Shri Krishna asked him to return his teacher's son, who had come to him as a result of his work. "Considering my ruling as supreme," said Krishna, "you should immediately return the son of our teacher." Yamaraj returned the boy to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Krishna and Balaram brought him to his father. The brothers asked if their teacher had anything more to ask from them, but he replied, "My dear sons, you have done enough for me. I am now completely satisfied. For further want can there be for a man who has disciples like you? My dear boys, you can go home now. This glorious act of yours will always be renowned all over the world. You are all above all blessings, yet it is my duty to bless you. I give you the benediction. that whatever you speak will remain as eternal fresh as the instruction of the Vedas. Your teachings will not only be honored within this universe or in the millennium, but in all places, in ages, will remain increasingly new and important. Due to this benediction from his teacher, Krishna, Lord Krishna's Bhagavad Gita is ever increasingly fresh, and it's not only renowned within this universe, but in other planets and in other universes also. Being ordered by their teacher, Krishna and Balaram immediately returned home to their chariots, on their chariots. They traveled at great speeds, like the wind, and made sounds like the crushing of clouds. All the residents of Mathura, who had not seen Krishna and Balaram for a long time, were very pleased to see them again. They felt joyful, like a person who has regained his lost property. Thus, Eno Bhaktivedanta purport of the 44th chapter of Krishna. Krishna recovers the son of his teacher. Haribol Namaste. So let's continue the chanting and try to meditate upon what we have heard from our instructing spiritual master, the narrative of the pastimes of Lord Krishna, returning the son of his teacher. Haribol Namaste.
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Namine, Ora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Prasthaya. Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Namine, Ora Karuna Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayana, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nayana. Bhakti Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasari Gauranga Vrinda. Bhakti Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasari Gauranga Vrinda. Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana, 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 Gopala Govinda Rama, Madana Mohana,
Namo Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa Namaste, Gora Karuna Sarupaya, Radha Krishna Prasanate.